Hello everyone! If this is the first time that you see my channel, welcome! My name is Mariana Palacios and this is a channel where I speak about how to play for ballet classes. Today is the last video of this series. I've been sharing with all of you videos every week, and now I'm sorry to tell you I need to do a little bit of break. I need some holidays and I need also to focus on the online course that I'm creating. So remember, I leave the link down below so you can sign up and you will receive the information as soon as the course is ready. I know some of you have been following these videos. Thank you so much for your support and your kind words. I mean, every time that I get a message, I'm so happy because I see that all of this work is worth it. Because this is a lot of work to create these videos. You cannot imagine. I didn't expect that it was going to be so much work. So yeah, my first intention was to create dialogue and to create visibility around this profession, because there is not so much out there online and also in general. So thanks for your interest, and remember to share these videos with everyone that could be interested, from musicians and from pianists, and also share it with dancers because they really enjoy when they understand how we think about how we play for ballet classes. So in the next months, you can follow me on my Instagram account, Mariana Palacios Pianist. I will upload their information and also videos I will be playing in different places. So I'm looking forward to a lot of surprises and new things in my life, a lot of changes. So yeah, I will share in Instagram what is going on with my life and my projects. In today's video, I want to share something that I've been mentioning a lot in my videos, and it's the ballet schools. When I refer to all the difference that you can find playing for different ballet teachers, or when you play in different countries, you see some things in common. Not always, but there are some characteristics in teachers coming from Russia or from Romania, or teachers coming from America, from England. So it's something that I really wanted to speak about. Of course, it's difficult to generalize on that, but I really want to try to summarize a little bit. And because I'm not an expert on all the ballet schools, because I haven't worked with, for example, with teachers coming from the French school, for example, or from the Italian school, I have invited a great pianist. He lives in Madrid and works in Madrid in Spain. We both are Spanish, so sorry for our English. We have weird accents, but I hope you are getting used to with these videos. He lives in Madrid. We met around 2 years ago. And well, we both are very passionate about this work, and he has a very large knowledge and so much experience. So it's an honor to have him here with me today. And his name is Juan Antonio Mata. No, we are recording.
Ahora.
And your camera is good? Yes, good. Vale, pero está bien. Vale.
Hello, Mariana. Thank you for inviting me to the channel. I'm so excited to be here to have this little chat about our wonderful profession and share it with all your followers on your channel. Please let me say that you are doing a great job. Thank you very much for doing this. It is very needed, especially in places with lack of music resources for dance and dance pianists like our country. So I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thanks to you, Juan, for taking the time and the energy to collaborate in this video. First of all, we want to say that, of course, we are going to share here our experience, but everything can change so much depending on the background and the experience of the teachers. Okay, so we are going to take very general, give our opinion, and of course, we are looking forward to seeing your comments in this video, because I'm sure there are pianists all over the world with different experiences. Let's speak about the first ballet school, the French. Well, I want to say that I don't have so much experience playing for French teachers. I worked a long time ago for around a year with Marc Ribot. He was working in Sweden, and I had the pleasure to work with him, and I have such a nice memory. He was very musical, you know, like very rhythmical. It was very interesting to work with him. I don't know, what about you, Juan? Have you had experience playing for French teachers?
I also have little experience, honestly, with French teachers. I can remember a good friend, Hervé Hilary. He's an excellent dancer. but also he's a osteopath and a physiotherapist, and also he's a singer, so he has a very nice musical background. And one of the things he has taught me about the music quality of the steps, regarding the exact speed, the exact shape and taste musically of attendu, of agité, that he mentioned a lot, that there is somehow a music quality into the name and into the step. And he was very controlling the speed and the tempo. And that's also a quality that he shared with another French teacher I had the pleasure to play for, that is Stéphane Fabouin. He's a great master. He also teaches at the National Company in Spain. And his class was so challenging in regarding tempo too.
And actually, one thing that all of us can do is to listen to albums for the ballet class from pianists. So, for example, we would like to mention two French ballet pianists. One is Sylvain Durand, I hope we pronounce it well, and Laurent Chocron. We will leave the names, just in case.
Because it's important to listen to other pianists and their works, and it's very nice. Both of them are, and you can take a lot of ideas from them.
Yeah. So, but summarizing, our experience playing for French teacher in general is nice. No, we feel that they have a rich musicality. Yeah.
But we want more experience. Let's go to Paris somehow.
Yes, let's go to Paris to play in the opera. In the Italian school, there is a very important method called cecchetti, and I don't have experience playing for cecchetti. I have some colleagues that have played for cecchetti, and they say that from the musical point of view, it's kind of boring. It's not so rich and so interesting to play. And I don't have experience playing for Italian teachers. I play for Italian teachers, but they have an education like in so many countries, so I cannot say so much about Italian school, but maybe you can say more, Juan.
What you say about the cecchetti is quite funny, because of course you can find a lot of books and music books for the exams, and sometimes it's quite boring. I wonder if anyone else is using that, but you can find some nice pieces in there.
It's something maybe useful at the beginning, because the music is pretty simple, so you get to understand the musicality of the steps and the exercises.
Yeah, that definitely. It's important to say regarding the Italian tradition or Italian school that in the Accademia di Danza di Roma, Cristiano Grifone, the head of music over there, has settled a very important conference that any noble dance pianist should try to attend, because it's very, very inspiring.
I spoke about this conference in my video, speaking about the resources. So you have the link there. I will leave it again here.
My experience with Italian teacher is very, very small. I can only say that I have played with the great master Pino Alosa, who was great master at Scala di Milan and many places. And in his opinion, one of the characteristics of the Italian teachers, musically speaking, is the dynamic of the movement in the allegro and the pirouettes exercises in the center. And of course, the use of the tarantellas, folletes, and that kind of stuff. But he says a lot about that word exactly, the dynamic.
Choo-choo, Danish ballet, Danish school. I have some experience with the Danish school, because I studied in between 2014 and 16 at the postgraduate of musical accompaniment for dance in Copenhagen, and I could go to the Royal Danish Ballet School and watch a lot of classes. Actually, there is an amazing pianist is Kim Helway. I mentioned him in another videos. In general, I found their work with the musician very rich. It's very nice to work with them. They know what they want from music, so they know how to speak with the pianist. It's a great school. And one thing that we have to mention is the system, the method that they have that comes from Bournonville. Bournonville, August Bournonville was the creator of the Danish ballet school, and they create musics for each day. So they have Monday class, Tuesday class, Wednesday class, Thursday and Friday class. When I was watching the classes, they use it sometimes, but I never seen a whole class. I think it's a very useful music to use when you start, or even when you are very experienced. You can learn from those compositions. They go very, very well with the steps and with the musicality of the step. So I think it's a good resource. What do you think, Juan?
Of course, the Danish school is one of the most important, and I have the pleasure to meet Kim Helbeck in Rome, and we have talked a lot, and we share something very interesting. One of the schools that we are not going to mention in this video is the unfinished Spanish school, like my friend Patricia Bonin used to say, and that school is the Bolero school, the Spanish Bolero school. That school was pretty famous, even Petit Pas know it, and the Boleros dancers have a very important connection with the Danish school that there was on the same time, and Kim and I has talked about this.
Al himno ruso. The Russian school is one of the biggest school, because they have created so much repertoire, ballet repertoire and scores and material. In general, they use very slow tempos, but still articulated. And now I know how to approach to this musicality, but at the beginning, the first time that I met teachers coming from the Russian ballet school, it was super challenging, and I couldn't understand how to play for these exercises. So I find that it's very challenging. For me, it's not I don't connect so well with this musicality, but I think it's something interesting to learn. And I have to say also that sometimes I'm scared of Russian teachers because they are so serious. I don't know you, Juan, how you feel with them?
Russians somehow are very scary indeed, and some Russian friends I have, I think they're proud to be somehow scary. So, yeah. But at the same time, I really admire them. I mean, they are so proud about their heritage, and they should be. And honestly, I'm somehow a little bit agree with your point of view. In the school, they are very articulated. They are somehow slow, and you can find all the methods with specific Russian music for each step. That's quite useful when you started to learn this profession. It's very nice. You can find lots of this material in that webpage we talk about sometimes. Remember the ballet music, yeah, that Naro, that Rudos.
Yeah, I will leave the link of that so people can find scores there and material.
And that's last time, 2 years ago in Rome, one of the most famous teachers and instructors of the Russian school, Galina Bethuglaya of Pekanova School, came to give us a conference about Tchaikovsky, and she has 2 important books. It's one of the schools that if you have the chance to play with teachers, you should have. I have the chance to play for the Russian Master Ballet Camp in Alicante, in Spain, with a very nice teacher that is Tatiana Sebastyanova. And it's very funny because you mentioned it's difficult to understand each other, no? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for example, imagine the situation where you cannot understand completely. She doesn't talk English, she doesn't talk Spanish, I don't talk Russian. So imagine how was the class, completely rasvatichitiri and that kind of thing. But through music you can understand. The thing is, when you are collaborating, when you are involved, you can. But at the first time, of course, they are very frightened. I feel that when I play too with great master Asari Plisevsky, that is quite famous, and you see that he's a very funny guy, but the first comment is very serious, very determined.
It takes time to feel relaxed with Russian teachers.
You have to take along with them.
Yeah.
And then when you have it, they are nice. They are nice.
Yeah. Pues English School. Vale. English School, from my point of view, is one of the easiest and more interesting to play. In general, English teachers, I have played a lot for different English teachers or teachers coming from the English school, and they know exactly what they want in terms of music. It's so easy to work with them and it's so inspiring. I love to work with English teachers, actually. I know that it's going to work well.
I've been working in EMBS, English National Ballet School, for a while, and they are lovely. I love them so much too. They are one of my favorites. They are polite, they are clear. I had wonderful experience with, for example, Mrs. Larissa Bamba, and a very nice teacher, or Mr. David Zhao, that you actually know him because he's one of the main collaborators in our beloved podcast, Ballet Piano podcast, and also the English, the British school has developed such a good materials, publications like the ones famous of the Royal Academy of Dance, arranged and prepared again by our, we call Chris Hobson of the Ballet Piano
podcast. The godfather, no?
Yeah, because
the godfather of ballet pianist.
The godfather of this profession. And it's a key reference. As I said, we both know they have a good preparation. The teachers who came with a royal diploma and everything has music preparation somehow, and they use it.
Exactly. Yeah, they have a very good education in music, and you can notice just from the first moment how they speak with the pianist. They are so polite. They are always it's so nice to work with them. We love English teachers. I think they value a lot music. They value, that's the thing. Like, they know how important music is, and they know how to use the music for their ballet exercises. Yeah, so nice. I work here in Sweden. There is a Julian Moss, and it's so nice to work with him, and also Susan Lindström, the one that I did the video about the slow tandis. She studied also the program in England, and you can see that she knows. They know even the time signature so clear. So it's so nice. They know different folk music. They know many things.
I have a very good anecdote because talking about time signatures with David Zhao. When I started to play for him, he came to me and said, "Maestro, can I have a steady 3/4, please?" Wonderful. And he gave me, sing me something and everything. Oh, wonderful. First exercise. Second exercise, "Maestro, can I have faster 2/4, kind of some kind of gallop or whatever?" "Oh, thank you." Boom. And every single exercise, I mean, this was like so much. It's like I didn't have, I wasn't used to that. It's like, so, and then I realized this guy thinks I don't know how to play or whatever, But then I realized he was doing that not only for me, he was doing that for the students.
Of course.
and then I realized how important is when the teachers do that kind of communication for the future teachers and future dancers, and that's quite important.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone respect also the role of the pianist, which is so important, because the students see that there is a relation, a very important relation here. So yes,
and they always have reverence. That's something. It's quite. It's like every single class you have the reverence. I mean, you cannot avoid that.
And they come to you before the class to say good morning, good afternoon, how are you? Let's start. And it's like, oh, so nice. So yes, ballet teachers, have this on mind, because we feel so well when the ballet teachers do that.
Well, regarding the American schools, I mean the key word or the key figure to understand how musically the American school works is Balanchine. The special musicality of this school tradition is a consequence of this background, because, as I said, Balanchine was a musician. He was a son of a musician. Therefore, the American instructor has developed this way of internalizing and embodying and using the music into the exercises. If I can read very briefly, I want to make this quote. Perhaps a good way of explaining the difference in approach between Balanchine use of the music is explaining that the movement for the dancers begin with the music and actually ends slightly after the phrase or note, so that the dancer almost moves into the next step after the music begins.
And this is so nice. I saw this in the Danish opera, in the ballet company in Denmark, in Copenhagen. They have a lot of influence from the American ballet theater and from New York City Ballet. And I saw there teachers, like American teachers working there, or Danish teachers that have been working a lot in New York. And they were asking the pianist to play like very, very little music, so the dancers start with the movement. And it's so nice for the dancers and for the pianist, because when the dancer starts, then you just follow, and it's so nice. It's it's perfect. And another thing, Juan, I think also this jazzy, I'm just thinking now, this jazzy tradition, I think also it's because there was so much musicals and in Broadway and all of this. So all this jazz and Broadway music was in the streets, so of course they were influenced by that.
No. It's in the repertoire of Balanchine, of course. Pieces like Who Cares, choreographers like Jerome Robbins, composers like Leonard Bernstein, who do music for them. I mean, it's part of the culture, so they put them into the dance. And also one of the important things of the musicality of the American teacher side also is because of the different approach that you can have when you play contemporary, and you have quite experience about that the music is different. And they somehow put a little bit of that kind of relation that you have when you accompany contemporary classes. They put it a little bit on the ballet class also.
Yeah. And you were in New York listening to different pianists, right?
Yeah, no, I listened to our beloved Josu Gallastegui in Steps of Broadway. That is one of the meccas of the dance, and I listened to wonderful pianists over there, and see for my thesis teachers like Leslie Brown, the one of the famous movie with Baryshnikov, and Nancy Bielski. I also have the chance to see classes of Suki Soret of the School of American Ballet. I met pianists like Jerome Begin or Alana Murphy, who plays on Juilliard. So, and even there's different classes, different teachers, quite different between them. I can feel that in America there is some flow, some way of communication between the pianist and the instructor, that is something that in a book of an American pianist, Elizabeth Story, used to say that the pianist is not an accompanist. There should be a collaborator, and you can feel that that quality
Exactly.
in the relation so much.
Yeah, and actually it's something that I was thinking also to do another video about this, about how we are called, because this word collaborator is more and more used nowadays, also for pianists playing with singers, like it's collaboration. And I think it's a very nice term, like if we are called collaborators.
There is a book of Katherine Teck that that's the title.
Cuban school, pum 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 pum. Cuban school comes actually from the Russian school. You can find similarities there, like what we speak about these heavy tempos, slow tandis, slow jumps. When you meet a Russian and a Cuban teacher, you can find some similarities sometimes, because they do one thing in the Cuban school, that they have some set exercise before they have this warm-up set and some pliés set. And yes, I had the experience playing in La Habana in Ballet de Cuba. I played 2 classes. One was in this Cuban style, so it was very, very challenging and almost uncomfortable, because the teacher didn't communicate well with me, so everything was new for me. I was lucky to have a Cuban pianist helping me, but it was pretty weird. And then I play another class with a Cuban dancer, but he's working in Europe, so it was a standard European class. Yeah, and I had also a little bit of experience playing for other Cuban teachers from Loipa in English National Ballet, but just 1 class, and it was kind of okay. Again, this weird warm-up, this connected warm-up with different steps. And you have been working a lot with Cuban teachers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been teaching and playing in the University Institute of Alicia Alonso in Madrid for more than 10 years. So I have the privilege to play for lots of great Cuban masters like Loipa. So that's why I'm laughing, because you play for her. As you mentioned, the Cuban master and the Cuban schools has quite a connection with the Russians. I remember one teacher, Maria Cristina Alvarez, who used to comment more or less that is some kind of Paganova with taste, with sabor cubano, no? They look for the stamina, and that's why that kind of slowest adios and slowest fondues I ever play. And musically speaking, I can give up an important example with one of my beloved Cuban teachers, Orlando Salgado, who has mentioned that the founder of this school, that is Alberto Alonso, used to say that he preferred ballet music and classical music in the ballet class. You can see, for example, the difference with the American school we already talked about, that Valentin prefer all the kind of music instead. But either way, I have played a lot of jazz and a lot of even salsa and mambo for the classes. Also, that they change the order of the class. They don't begin with the traditional pliés that all the school used to do. And also, as you mentioned, that kind of the warm-up exercises are very long, with different combination of steps and tempos. You can actually see a very long warm-up in my YouTube channel, one class of
nice.
Orlando Salgado, and it's with the score at the same time.
Okay, so that's it for today. We haven't played because, well, we didn't find the moment to play, and also I think if we start to play, it's going to take a long. It's going to be very long video. I know Juan wants to play. I know he always wants to play. He's going to be frustrated. I hope with all of this, with like sharing our experience, you can get an idea of the different ballet schools. And please, all the pianist experience, please leave your comments. Well, this is a place to share our experience, so we would love to read your comments. Well, thank you so much, Juan, for all of this, for sharing so much knowledge. You have a large and super interesting experience, and you are very passionate also about this profession. So I love to hear your experience and ideas and everything.
Gracias, Mariana. Thank you to you, Mariana. Thank you for all the wonderful work you are doing. As I told you, this is very needed. And I'm another follower, eager for your next video.
Yes, great. Thank you, Juan. Bye.
Bye.